Today I'm going to be showing you about census records and how to understand the information that you are seeing on those census records. Start, you're going to go to www.prendergastlibrary.org, go down to Online Resources and click on Genealogy. In the library, you can use the link on our website to access the Ancestry.com Library Edition. Now if you go to search, there is a category called Census and Voter Lists. Go there. This will initially just search all census records, but I want to go to some specific census. We are going to start by clicking on the U.S. Federal Census Collection, so this will just pull up just the United States Federal Census. Now the states also did census on the 5 years, so think like 1865. And if we scroll down, we can select which census we want to look at. I'm going to show you two different censuses from the 1800s. First, I'm going to show you the 1840 census. I'm going to search Prendergast. Now if we look, we see the records for Prendergast, and we have one in Chautauqua County. There's a few of them in Chautauqua County, so I'm just going to look at this first one. And as you can see, the name is spelled differently. Penmanship of the census takers was not always great, so sometimes the spelling looks a little wonky, but you can extrapolate that it's Prendergast or that the system has decided that that might match other spellings. So click on View Record, and then you can click on this view, and it will show you the actual image of the record. Now you can tell that these are old. The scans are not great, but we're going to zoom in. And I want to show you the top of the records here. So 1840 and before, census records only listed the head of household. So only the head of the family or the male was listed. This makes it very difficult if you're trying to find a mother, a wife, a daughter, a son in these records because they are not listed by name. So here we have the list of names. They can be very hard to read, so it may take a little searching, but here, William Prendergast, you can see how someone thought it might have been an O and an A instead of an R and an E, but so that might be Prendergast. It could be something else. And then, so looking across, if you go back up top, what they did was tally how many of certain age groups were in the house. So, under 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, and so on. And so if we go back down to the record that we're interested in, we have one that's from 5 to 10, and then one from 15 to 20 in the household. And then one that is like 60 to 70, probably William, and then 2 children in the household. And then, so those are the males. So William was somewhere between 60 and 70. He had 2 children, male children. One was between the ages 5 and 10, and one was between the ages 15 and 20. And then over here is the females. So we have one female who is between ages 40 and 50, probably the mother. And then here on the end is where they had, here it's called colored persons, African Americans. They were listed separately. And so that is all the information that you really can gather from the early census records. It's very scant, very difficult for genealogy purposes. But starting in 1850, the census looks a little different. Okay, going back to our list of census records, I am now going to show you the 1850 census record. As I said, this one is going to look a little different. Doing our search for Prendergast. There are a few more records. Oh, and I do find some for Chautauqua County. So let's take a look at these records. So we view the record, and now I'm going to view. And already you can see it's a better copy, a little cleaner, there's more information on here. And the nice thing is they will have a bar that drops down that provides you with the different categories. So let's look at the top. So this is the house number, name of each person who lives in the home. Now, usually the head of household is listed first, and then subsequently they would do the spouse and then children, and then any other individuals that lived in the home, servants, boarders, things like that. So if we go down here, now there's still a little hard to read because it's so lightly written, but we can make some of this information out. So we see what we think is Prendergast, and here is Mary. Now we have the age, specific age, or as close to the age as they were able to determine, if they're male or female. Sometimes the race would be noted here, and then profession or occupation. A lot of the ones you're going to see for around this area are going to be farmers or housekeepers, things like that. And then if they owned the land, how much it was, where they were born. So let's go back to, so we have Alex Prendergast and Mary Prendergast. And James, I think we may have found someone very familiar. In this one, James is only 2 years old. And they're all listed as born in New York. So as we get from 1850 on, this is the kind of information that you can find in the census records. Some census records are more complete than others. It really depends on the census taker and what questions are asked each year.